this anger and resentment for towards China is basically because China has succeeded where the U.S. has failed. It's very funny. I'm old enough to remember when Nixon went to China, and the Cold Warrior, the Red Baiter, is the one who went to China in the early 70s, and made this rapprochement, which was an excellent thing. It was wonderful. And over the years, when China made this turn in its politics and decided to, they call it opening up, reform and opening up, which included, among other things, having some elements of capitalism under, albeit under state control. So what did they do? Republicans and Democrats, they wanted China in the WTO so that China could produce cheap goods for us to buy. Excuse me, but China did more than that and is now this economic powerhouse and is a competitor economically with the US. It's the second largest economy in the world and shortly will surpass the United States. So everything we're told about China, everything from Uyghur concentration camps, which do not exist. We don't have enough time to talk about that, but I am secure in saying that. All the lies we're told about China, it's anger about China being a true competitor to the United States. And we should keep that in mind when we read almost always negative stories about China. If you look, the New York Times or the Washington Post, every story about China is negative, every single one. No recognition of its economic prowess. They have recently declared that they've lifted 100 million people out of extreme poverty. Well, let's say they're lying and it's not 100 million. Let's say it's only 50 million. Well, this is not a goal in US policy at all for Democrats or Republicans. So I think it behooves us to be at the very least skeptical about China. The thing that bothers me also is the sheer incompetence, frankly, of the Biden administration, Trump first and now Biden. We've seen Meng Wanzhou, who was the CFO of Huawei. Huawei 5G was taking over the world until the United States forced its allies not to do business with them any longer. Huawei can't do business here at all. This ham-fisted effort to accuse her of a crime, which was sketchy at best, something that the U.S. has the U.S. is claiming that it has the right to snatch people anywhere in the world, and the Canadians foolishly went along with it, and the Chinese snatched 2 Canadian citizens. But China held firm, and she went home and continued to plead not guilty. That was part of the deal. And we don't have enough good analysis of that, unfortunately. So this is what we, and there was the recent, it's a big debacle now that the United States and Australia and the UK were forming this alliance, AUKUS, in the Pacific and giving Australia nuclear subs. But France thought they had a deal to give Australia nuclear subs. The French were mad, recalled their ambassador. Biden had to call President Macron and apologize. And it was a diplomatic disaster. But so that bothers me too, this panic and this frankly stupidity about China is very, very dangerous. We're talking about nuclear nations, nuclear powers, and we have no diplomacy anymore. Just the United States deciding that it can do whatever we want. And that's a policy that goes from president to president to president. The United States claiming they can render people, kill lists, and it's Democrats, it's Republicans, it's all of them. So not only must we oppose this policy, but we have to watch our government because they can't be trusted to do anything that's even intelligent.
Yeah, I agree. And when we spoke to Jeff Sachs, he said much of what you're saying as well, that we're antagonizing China because they were successful economically. part of that economic success was our own policies, such as NAFTA, which
Mhm.
came at the expense of our own industrial economy. And now this whole threat of China is being used to increase Pentagon budget, the military industrial complex, to use our tax money to sell more nuclear weapons. So this is really bad.